And the foreign ministers of 7 richest countries will be meeting in London for the first G7 summit of 2021. This will be the first such in-person meeting in over 2 years. The G7 nations will look at proposals to build a rapid response mechanism to counter Russian propaganda and disinformation. Speaking ahead of the G7 foreign ministers meeting, the British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab has called Russian actions as a threat. Raab also expressed the urgency to counter Russian cyber attacks. British and the US officials have expressed concern in recent months about growing strategic cooperation between Russia and China.
Now, today's data we're also getting the G7 to come together with a rapid rebuttal mechanism so that when we see these lies or propaganda or fake news being put out there, we can not just individually but come together to provide a rebuttal and frankly to provide the truth for the people in this country but also in Russia, China and all around the world.
Militarily, economically and technologically, Britain has identified Russia as the biggest threat to its security. The English Kingdom also views China as its greatest long-term challenge. The Foreign Secretary has elaborated on some matter of concerns when it comes to China and Russia.
I think we are concerned about the threat that we see Russia posing on the border with Ukraine. Also, the wider use of, the Novichok attack on Alexei Navalny is a chemical weapons attack. I think that ought to give great cause for concern. It's a chemical weapons issue, not just a human rights issue. I think the use of cyber, particularly by Russia, but also by China, Iran, and other countries, is something that we're looking at very closely, working with our allies on. We've got great high-tech comparative advantage in the UK. We don't just put that to good use in exploiting commercial opportunities, we also make sure that our resilience and the resilience of our allies is strengthened.
Meanwhile, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will visit the United Kingdom for the G7 foreign ministers meet. The UK has invited India for an in-person G7 meet. Foreign ministers of Australia, South Korea, South Africa and the Secretary General of Southeast Asian nations of the ASEAN have also been invited. The External Affairs Minister of India will be visiting London from 3rd to 6th of May for a bilateral visit. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken will also travel to London during the same time. And according to reports, a bilateral between India and US is also highly likely here. G7 is a grouping of 7 industrialized countries: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, US and UK, plus the EU. The key focus of the meet obviously will be the ongoing crisis, that is the COVID-19 pandemic, but also climate change, with the UK set to host the UN Climate Change Conference COP26 later this year.
Transatlantic agenda. And I'm sure you are aware that Boris Johnson...
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.